Welcome to School Talk. This is a district talk show on topics of interest to our community that's produced by our very own students. And today we're inside South's television production studio with our superintendent, Dr. Gary C. Niehaus. Thank you for joining us today.
It's great to be here. It's a great opportunity for us to talk about what's going on in our Grosse Pointe Public School system.
Now, you started with us on June 1st and you hit the ground running, but your goals have remained largely the same since you started interviewing with the district. So let's talk through those four main goal areas and share with the community what you've done in each of them. The first, I would think, might be enrollment.
Well, enrollment's one of those issues that we've had a downturn in the state of Michigan. And Grosse Pointe Public Schools is funded on the number of students we have inside our school district. So we need to increase or maintain our enrollments through the next few years in order for us to be able to sustain and move forward with that. So one of the things that we've done is you've got me involved in the Chamber, and the Chamber of Commerce with the economic impact had two primary areas that they wanted to make sure that we took on. And that's how many more young families can we bring back into the Grosse Pointe communities. So it's really important for us to be able to look at programs and ways for us to be able to keep the young families here, but also attract those that are looking to move out into new communities or a different area. Grosse Pointe Public School Systems is one of those areas that we believe is right there where it needs to be. The other piece to it was that we also, in attracting them, thought, well, what would be those things that would help them understand that we do want to change the way we're doing business in order to be able to attract them. And so we've expanded our pre-K tuition program, and we've expanded it to two more elementary schools. So we have Barnes and Tromley, we have Mare and Richard. And then what we've done also is last night we approved the Young FIES program. So we have our three schools, Defer and Peppard and Mason, that will offer a Young FIES program next year.
And that's tuition free because it's a kindergarten program essentially, correct?
Right, that's a tuition free program, and we feel like that young families then looking at Grosse Pointe communities will look at those two programs and say, this is exactly what we're looking for. This is what we need and what we want as a young family to be able to have our kids go into our public schools, have the opportunity to start in a public school setting, and then to also then hopefully stay and maintain themselves through the rest of our elementary and middle school and high school years.
Absolutely, and it's exciting to see that age-appropriate, play-based preschool opportunity lead into the kindergarten curriculum that's so much more demanding than it was just a few years ago. Now, some of the other things that you've done with partnerships would be with the Board of Realtors had an open house this fall, and that was highly successful as well. Well,
we had all of our schools open. We were open actually 1 to 3 in most schools, and our high schools were open 1 to 4. Had a lot of traffic. Board of Realtors also had homes open in the community, which was a benefit both to the families and also to the realtors. We had a lot of traffic through our high schools. Our entry levels of middle school and high school, for the most part, our 6th grade and 9th grade are heavily years where kids come into our district. So we were real happy with the traffic. We got actually some kids that actually turned around and enrolled right into our school system. We've got others that are obviously making decisions now on where they're going to go in 6th or 9th grade. So anybody that wants to continue to come by, be a part of the opportunity to visit, go into schools, visit with the principals, spend time. We encourage that and hope that'll continue to happen.
We love those tours, and we love to have students come in when other students are in class so they can see what it's actually going to be like in the classroom, because it gives them a better idea of what we mean by 1GP. Now, your second goal area when you first started interviewing was talking about the difference between North and South and that there was some contention there, but that's morphed into more of a district-wide emphasis. Tell me more about the 1GP initiative.
Well, I think the issue that we get into is the factor that we do have two premier high schools. And when you have two premier high schools, there's obviously some competition that goes on between them. At the same time, when you look at the rankings and we look at where our faculties are ranked and we look at the number of teachers that are Michigan Teacher of the Year candidates or finalists, national awards, we've got outstanding students and staff at our 2 high schools. And so there's a natural idea that we want to be competitive then. So one's better than the other one. And really, honestly, we have 2 great high schools. An example of the 1GP, though, is that we have new science standards. And so the next gen standards that are coming in nationally as well as statewide, we've now adopted. And so we had our 2 science departments have to sit down and develop a sequence that was worked for both high schools. And having, you know, the science chairs sit down, then the science departments sit down, the middle school science departments to agree to come up with that solution is a 1GP solution. The same happens, though, for us with regard to our elementaries. I did tour all of our elementary schools this fall. I spent at least a half day in most of our elementary schools, got into all of our classrooms. And what you found is that maybe we do have everyday math, but we also have 4 or 5 supplementals that go behind it. And each school's doing something a little bit different. And the same goes into reading, or the same would go in writing. And so what we're asking for is, in the 1GP, is let's make sure that we're doing it all the same, and let's make sure we're doing it across the board. So aligning those arrows in our curriculum, aligning them among the elementary schools, aligning the science departments between the 2 high schools, that's really for me what 1GP is all about. But I think also this time of year is also that time of year where we did the Holiday Fest, and so both of our courses got together to do a performance for the community. It's another 1GP event. And so the more we can do together, I think we showcase both of our high schools, but all 3 of our middle schools, all 9 elementary schools. The more we do that, I think the more we build into that 1GP process.
And taking that best practice idea and aligning the arrows, your 3rd area was in special education. Talk to us about how you've aligned arrows in that area.
Well, the special education parent group as a whole followed me through my whole interview process, and had a lot of questions about, you know, what would you do, how would you go about doing it, what more can we do for our special ed population. And I think if you go to the far end, to the one far end, I think we look at where we are with Full Circle. And Full Circle's, we've got enrollment predictions on Full Circle that we're going to expand that program. We're at 2 classrooms now. We have a potential over the next 3 or 4 years to go expand to 3rd, 4th, and 5th classrooms. And so when you look at what we do for our 19 to 26-year-olds, it's a matter of working with Full Circle to be able to have classrooms available for our students that need to go out in the community and to be able to have an opportunity in our community. When you then look back into our younger piece, we've really done a good job with our pre-K program, trying to get our early childhood kids and our pre-K kids together, giving them opportunities to have shared experiences at Barnes has really been a big same age peers to do that. We've also established, and then the foundation founded another grant last night for us on the peer-to-peer. And so we have peer-to-peer means that we have regular ed kids that look after and work with and befriend special education students, and primarily in our middle schools and our high schools, but also some in the elementaries as well. But I really think that the more we co-teach, the more we allow our special ed kids to have the opportunity to move into our elementary schools, for more co-teaching to go on between regular ed and special ed teachers. I think the more we incorporate that, the more there's opportunities for our special ed families and to feel at home in their home school, and to be able to go with their peers into an environment that it's conducive to them and to work with them. And I believe that we've got made some progress this fall, but we've also got some more work to do in finalizing some of those co-teaching experiences.
Well, it's exciting to see that people from within our special education community who've been leaders and advocates for this were also part of the strategic planning process, and part of that diverse group that brought together an exciting plan that was presented to the Board of Education also last night.
Well, and I think that's important that they were included, and Carl Kratz being from Full Circle and being a co-chair, and Jennifer Munson, one of our parents, being involved in, and Amy Kruger from Richard as a special ed teacher. We had a high school special ed teacher as well, Pat, I don't remember her last name, but they all were very much involved in it. And that's just important for us to have that voice in the room when we're making decisions on how we're going to meet the needs of all the kids in our district.
And speaking of meeting the needs of all the kids in our district, the fourth area in your plan, and a major part of the strategic plan, is technology integration, and how do we move from where we are to where we need to be to prepare students for careers in college. So tell me more about your background and your interest in that technological area.
Well, one of the things that we're behind in, and this is our second year in a row where now we're going to take the M-STEP as a pencil paper test.
Yeah.
And we don't have the capacity right now within our buildings to be able to take an electronic test on a statewide basis. We're one of 18% that don't do that, and probably it'll be less than 18% this year.
Right.
So putting the infrastructure in our buildings, beginning to put the Wi-Fi systems in, the backbone in to be able to do that is really important to us right now. We just finished a major project at South and at Monteith. We got 2 out of, not enough. And so we're at a point where we're going to again do Parcells this summer, but there's going to be a need for us to go back and look at our technology infrastructure. What are our needs? How do we go about getting that accomplished? Also our security cameras, upgrading them, getting them where they need to be. Right now we really only have security cameras at our 2 high schools. We need security cameras at all of our schools. Primarily our middle schools need them, and also our elementary schools. Probably not the quantity that we have at the 2 high schools, but even our 2 high schools. Upgrading those and getting those where they need to be is really important to us right now as we move forward. I think the other side of it is the factor that in our district, we also live in a district where we have old schools. And so the old school syndrome is we really do value our old schools. We got several on the historic registry. And we're very happy that we want those. But old buildings, like old houses, take a lot of repairs. And so a lot of the work we have to do is not glamorous work. We're not adding onto buildings, but the plumbing, the heating, the electrical, the roofing, the things that have to be done in order to do that. In our strategic plan, we had $112 million identified in projects that need to be done and over the next 7 to 10 years in order for us to be able to maintain and keep the buildings we have.
In the learning environment that we want to provide our students.
And then once we get that accomplished, once we get that where it needs to be, then the idea being if we got Wi-Fi and we got the backbone and we got the technology infrastructure in, we believe that there are plenty of devices within our buildings, but more devices come from home. So kids bringing their own device to school, be able to hook up and wire in immediately into their school environment in their classrooms would give us the firepower we need to be able to do a different type of teaching and learning. But it's a teaching and learning that's going on. We just don't have the resources all in place right now for us to be able to do. We have a lot of teachers and a lot of stuff going on that you can tell and see. In my visits, you can see where we're lit up and where things are going well. But boy, could we do a lot more if we had the infrastructure in place to be able to make that happen.
So the infrastructure would join those pockets and again make it more of a 1GP effort, so it's more...
Well, we want it across the district too. So we want wired, and we want classrooms, all of them to be that way. And again, getting that infrastructure in place will take some time, but it's also going to take some money to be able to get that accomplished. And right now, funding-wise, we'll probably have to come back and talk to the voters about what the possibilities would be in order for this infrastructure to be upgraded to the point that we're basically a 21st century Grosse Pointe public school system.
Gotcha. But you're looking closely at the difference between needs and wants and being fiscally responsible as we're developing that plan.
Well, and I think the biggest need we have is the fact that we need to maintain and keep our buildings up to speed. And I think the other need we have that unfortunately we have to continue to contend with is the fact that we want our kids to be safe and secure in our buildings.
Absolutely.
And security becomes the biggest issue for us because we have breaches at different points in times in Grosse Pointe communities. And when we have those breaches, we want to have our buildings to a point where we can say that they're safe and secure. And more importantly, I think then what we'll do this spring is we're going to evacuate our buildings. We're going to another site in order for us to be able to maintain and understand what that would be like if we really did have an event. And when nobody wants to have that event, but we do have to be practiced and ready whenever that time comes. And I believe that our faculty and our students and our principals, along with our safety departments in the communities, can help train us and help us make those practices as real as possible, and hopefully we'll never have to ever do those. But it's important for us to have our safety and security in place. And we've worked with our police department, fire department, our safety departments within the communities to be able to do that. So hopefully Compliance One will bring us back a report here in January. We'll be able to share that with the community and share our concerns.
Nice. And the idea behind all of this is that if students and staff feel safe and secure in our buildings, then they can focus on the business of teaching and learning.
And they're going to learn a lot quicker, a lot better, and they're going to feel a lot more comfortable. And anytime we know the kids are comfortable, we know that they have a good learning environment, and that's really what we're after here in the Grosse Pointe Public School System.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for spending some time today talking briefly about your different points within your goal areas in the strategic plan. All of these are available on our website, and we invite you to explore that website. We also ask you to stay tuned, because coming up after the break, we're going to be exploring the depth and breadth of our curriculum by watching some student performances from within our own choirs, bands, and orchestras. So please stay tuned.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Strings Extravaganza 2015.
Thank you for watching School Talk. We appreciate your input and we would love to hear from you what you'd like to see on this show. It's something that we'll be bringing to you quarterly and we'd love to have your input so that we know that we're meeting your needs, we're fulfilling your interests and desires in this programming, and we're giving our students a real-life opportunity to practice their television production skills. I thank the students and staff at South's Television Production Studio for working with us today, and I hope that you will stay informed, stay involved, stay active in our schools. Please visit our website. It's www.gpschools.org, and please feel welcome to contact us with more story ideas. We'll see you soon.